And welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be 1v1ing a plethora of top tier planes in the Viggen. I will have timestamps down below for all the planes. What I want to do is the first batch of fights I will have commentary on them. And then everything I have left over I will put at the end without commentary. So the guys that want to actually watch all of it, feel free to watch the other 20 to 30 minutes of empty fights. And for the guys that want commentary, you can just watch the first part of the video. I want to put a huge disclaimer on this. This thing might get changed because the energy retention that it has right now is absolutely ridiculous. It simply doesn't lose speed. So take everything with a grain of salt. This is all just for fun's sake. We were having fun. We were trying to figure out what this thing can and can't do. And we kind of did. I will be running 30 minutes. They will always be running 20 minutes unless I state otherwise. And sometimes we won't shoot in certain angles, mostly them, because we want to see what will happen if I don't get killed right there. I will mention when that happens. It is pretty rough in that regard, and it only has been 2 hours since we've been fighting, so it might all not be that accurate, but you guys wanted to see it, so here we are. And what is it like to fight the J7E? Because it's one of those planes that's extremely good in the 1v1. Well, you kind of do to the J7E what the J7E does to other guys. This thing holds speed extremely well, but you have to be kind of careful with it, because if you hold too much speed in the merge, you will actually have such a wide turning circle, because you maintain so much speed, that the enemy will just instantly be on your 6. And the fact you can't really shed any speed will actually be a little bit of a determinant. Sure, you can reverse thrust, but the low speed control in this plane is absolutely horrendous. And I'm talking, if you go below 200 kilometers an hour and you have your flaps down, which are on the little canards at the front, let me just tell you, you actually just don't have input anymore. Your plane completely locks up, and if you have any kind of inertia, say you started a roll, say you just started the pull a certain way, you just applied rudder, it's going to keep drifting that way until you get enough airspeed again to get authority on your controls again. And this, you're gonna see plenty of that in this video actually, is actually what gets you killed quite often. So you want to bleed the enemy of your airspeed, of their airspeed, but you also want to make sure that you have enough to actually control your plane. So right now I'm in a good position here. The J7E does definitely turn quite a bit better than me. The thing is, when you have so much more altitude and energy over someone, it doesn't really matter that much. And this thing doesn't turn very badly at all. It's not quite a Draken, but you really want to be sure that, well, you don't carry too much speed, because your turning circle will become so wide that they will just sit behind you and they will gun you down. So this thing is really dependent on how well you control your speed. And here you see me, I'm not touching any controls, I'm not doing this, and it's simply rolling. You see me throw my mouse around trying to actually control my plane, and it just turned it the other way. It rolled over, it started pulling, and now I'm in a very bad spot. The thing is, I'm still going 500 again, and I will maintain my speed very well. I will go over the J7E and hope that I can get my nose on, and we go into the exact same trap. And these are the first 2 times that it actually happened to me, so I didn't know I had to pull my flaps in, because without the flaps it's a lot more manageable. But look at that, I'm not doing any inputs here. This thing has a mind of its own when you go below 200 kilometers an hour. Oh yes, that is. So now we did the same thing wrong twice in a row, and he's gonna be dead on my 6. And the J7E is a plane I don't really feel keen on reversing, especially this long into the fight, because he is starting to run on min fuel. This thing on min fuel is very, very good, but so is he, and he turns in an absolute UFO. Luckily, we have a very good roll rate, we don't really compress at these speeds, and these are, well, ideal kite territory for me. He is kind of compressing. I'm gonna try to now start spiraling in the hope that he doesn't get his guns on. I go horizontal a little bit here instead of up, to get out of his guns, and then the second he starts pulling lead here, we try to go up. Very hard shot on his end, he doesn't actually get it. But very often in these fights, and I want to disclose this as well, we didn't actually shoot in the first few merges just to see what would happen if it didn't end in the first turn. So if you see like a first merge and you think, why didn't he shoot there? Well, that's why. Trying to get out of the guns, he just shoots over me, didn't neck G in time, and now we have to reset it again. So we're gonna fly away for now, get a little bit of speed back up, because even though this plane maintains its speed very well, at low speed maneuvers it doesn't generate an awful lot. And what happens is, it's kind of the same as the J7E versus the MiG-21 bis. The 21 bis will bleed more speed at the start, but the longer the fight goes on, the more the BIS will generate, because the engine is so powerful. So it kind of cancels out the retention. I reverse the turn because I'm way too low and he has to turn out. He gets on my 6 yet again, but this time he is mighty slow. And he's actually gonna be running out of fuel in a second, which is kind of ironic. He would have died here regardless, because he's about to just fall out of the air. He doesn't have a shot. We go straight up, and because there are no missiles, it means that I can just hang up here and I will eventually start on top of him. And that's one of my biggest gripes with the plane right here. The plane is so damn massive that you can't really try to look at the enemy if he's like in underside of your gun, or underside of your plane. And that's gonna be a kill. And as most of you probably expected by now, the Phantom stands absolutely no chance. We can just hold S and we will essentially kill him. I want to put it in, however, for inclusion's sake, because it has something I want to show. We don't shoot in the first head on here, because well, it kind of defeats the entire purpose of going 1v1 here. So we go up over, I pass out, no big deal. Just trying to see why he's trying to go. His nose is starting to drop. He is not maintaining this one. So we pull over him, we just turn back inside of his turning circle and we shoot him out of the air. This is one way, however. When he runs min fuel, he becomes pretty dangerous, but I'm running 30 minutes still, and that's kind of a disadvantage on my end. And we all know that the Phantom on min fuel actually is completely cracked. I don't know what's wrong with this plane on min fuel, but it's insane. But we just try to turn outside of him. I kind of underestimated him here, I'm gonna admit, but this is a matchup that will essentially never really occur. I just wanted to include it for, well, inclusion's sake. I'm trying to go up over him, but the thing is, the min fuel Phantom just has so much power, it has so much lift. There is something wrong with that thing, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm trying to stay on top of him here, trying to make it so that he can't really get his nose on, but here he comes, he drops his flaps, he pulls straight up, and he's just standing on his engines. And there's not, well, I could have tried to dodge it, but I kind of underestimated it. But he misses, and he hits me. Merge number 3, and this is again gonna be on 20 minutes of fuel, both of us, well, him, 30 minutes for me. And it's the same thing as the first fight, and he just can't really do anything. I stay out of his turn in the first circle this time. We go up and over, convert all that speed into altitude, and if he tries to do the same, he will simply drop out of the air. And if he doesn't, well, he can run away, but that's not really the point of these fights. This is mostly just entertainment, us just screwing around, trying to figure out what this plane is like. And again, I feel like the energy retention on this plane is going to get changed, so take everything with a pinch of salt. We lose control again, because this thing just holds too much energy. But we are just trying to stay behind him here, and if he tries to follow up, he is not going to survive it. And the reason I included this fight is not because it's the exact same as the first one. I want you to pay very close attention to my plane, because right now I'm mostly fine with the keyboard, but when I start aiming, and I will tell you exactly when, with the mouse, it becomes kind of unresponsive. But you'll see exactly what I mean when it happens. He doesn't get the shot, he's stalling out, but he's a bit of a boat because he's not on min fuel this time. Now we're kind of drifting, we're trying to get behind him, and I'm going to be switching to my mouse aim here. And now when I press my elevator key, look at this, there we go. You see that massive jank? Yeah, that's when you are trying to aim. Notice you're not getting the lead down, you press your controls and it just janks your plane across the screen. Here we are, a fight you don't really want to see, or you won't really see ever. Funnily enough, it actually beats the MiG-19. Of course, when the MiG-19 runs a min fuel, you are going to get your absolute shit kicked in. Like no contest, you're not going to be doing anything, it's simply a matter of running away and he just two-turns you if you try to stick. But if he is on 20 minutes and I'm on 30, we can actually kind of bleed him of his energy, because he doesn't generate enough, he just doesn't turn enough to get these guns on. So we are kind of behind him, we are kind of getting position here. I'm trying to stay as vertical as possible without going, well, below 400 essentially. The rate speed on this thing is about 420 IAS, which isn't the best. But you also have to keep in mind this thing is an absolute kite. And versus an F5E it's actually very problematic, but you'll see that later on. We are now going 520, he is going a little bit slower, I'm gonna guess 450 roughly, maybe 400. And I'm trying to get some position in here. We're trying to get our nose on him, and we do. Here he comes, Now I do have to hit him still, because this gun is a little bit awkward. The velocity is very, very fast, but it's also kind of far back and on the bottom, which makes it annoying for me to aim. And I'm not really used to it. It's completely stealth. I have no idea what the ballistics are like. I only know the velocity. I don't know how much speed it loses. So my aim here and there, it's either gonna be I snap and I hit, or I just miss 100 rounds and then the one shell that hits blows him up. Because this gun hits extremely hard, and so far I think I've gotten 2 or 3 hits, and I'm mostly on Phantoms and planes like the F5E. But other than that, this gun absolutely slaps. MiG-19 coming back in, we just roll up over him, because this roll compresses quite badly at these speeds, whereas this thing easily just throws itself around. I'm trying to stay below him, using the terrain here, going up and over, trying to cut behind him. We are going a little bit slower now. He overshoots. And that's perfect for us, because even though we don't have the shot right now and he will outturn us, what I can do here is abuse the fact that he's going to be a little bit ahead of me, because he's going to need a lot of time to reverse us. So he stalls out, controls disappear. I press the control on the elevator key, and you saw that it suddenly janked like I did in the F4E fight. But now I'm slide behind him, and I'm going to be just going horizontally as he's climbing. I'm going to build up a little bit of speed. And the second we get close enough, we are going to pull on the stick and we are going to try to shoot him down. He stays just outside of a turning circle, however, not able to pull lead, but now we are high enough so I can go down, pick a little bit of speed, pick up a little bit of turn because of it, converting all that speed into a turning circle yet again, and we are going to get behind the MiG-19. The problem is, a raid fight versus a MiG-19 is something you are not going to win. And you see that I almost got the shot here, but I missed it. He could have been dead there. I missed. No big deal, however, because we're right on the 6, right? Well, no. The raid fight and MiG-19 will definitely win, and I will not get my guns on him here. I'm trying to see if I can do something, but I'm just sticking on that 430 mark. Which makes it so that I can't really get rid of him, because he's going about 500, maybe 550 right now, and he will just start gaining on me, so I need to break off. Right now I can't do it, however, because he's going to end up right on my 6, so I'm waiting just a little bit, trying to get position here. There we go, we just merged, now it's time to run, and we are trying to get as far away from this guy as humanly possible. He doesn't have missiles, he does have NR30s, but we're going 700 at 750 meters. It is entirely possible for him to hit that, and we'll have to maneuver. And what J Black does now is break off, give me some room, because running isn't going to get us anywhere. And the reason we did this was simply, well, now we're both kind of on min fuel. Let's see how this pans out. MiG-19 would have won that fight if I had stuck to raid. He would have just gained too much position on me. He shoots because he likes the sound of the NR30s, and we are going to merge yet again. But it says 10 minutes on the fuel clock. That's going to be about 2 minutes of fuel for us. Go up over him, roll out of the way, because it's no chance he's going to get a shot on us there. Trying to predict his pattern, dip below the nose, pull back over it, and we are still going 600. And this is just what I meant with energy generation. If your boat start at 1000, I will end up a kilometer above you essentially. If your boat start going 300, you will end up a kilometer above this thing. Not literally, of course. Right now we're both very, very slow, so I'm gonna go over him, see if I can get the shot in here. I'm scared my controls will lock up, but I know now that the flaps kind of hinder it more in those kind of stalls, so I just managed to get the shot in. We blow him out of the air, and that's gonna be GG. The next plane up in the line is the F5A, and for now this is the first fight we did, and I just wanted to see how well this thing could spiral. And of course, if he has a missile here, I am completely boned, but he doesn't. I'm going 800 kilometers an hour, he definitely isn't, and we can just pull this guy up into the vertical and he won't get anywhere near us. It's actually quite hilarious. So we just go straight up, we spiral it, we make the turn tighter and tighter and tighter until I basically end up right above him. That's 1.7 kilometers. While it's quite a hefty distance, you have to keep in mind that if I start going flat turn now, then I will go slow. I'm a very huge target, and there's a very big possibility he will just hit that. And with these supersonics, you know, they can just stand on their engines, they're kind of stalling for like half a minute, and they just have all the ammo in the world to just hose you down, unless of course it's the MiG-23 or MiG-21. But that's not what these guys are in. F5E trying to pull the guns on here, but I kind of didn't realize I was at 6 kilometers already, because these planes just pick up so much altitude in no time at all. So my IS was a bit lower than expected, and I couldn't pull into him. He goes straight up over him again. He potentially has the shot here, but he still has to hit it, because it's still 1.1 kilometers essentially. But he doesn't even have the shot here. He's stalling out. We go horizontal. We delay the stall as long as possible, and we gotta wait till we can drop back down on him, which is about now. So we pull back in. We're gonna end up right on his 6, but it's still an F5. The thing is, we're at high altitude. He is very slow, so it's pretty easy for us to just hose this guy down. And I want to make sure that this guy dies, so I don't want to go too slow, but I also don't want to go too fast. I'm indecisive here. He rolls out of the way, predict his roll, shoot him down, set him on fire. And that's the F5A. The F5A has a very little chance of actually killing this thing. It's the same with the F5E in the sense that at the start of the fight, he of course can get that snapshot in. He's very nimble at higher speeds, so he can definitely get position in the first 1-2 turns and then maybe hose us down. And then if the fight goes on any longer than that, we will essentially build up more and more of an advantage. Versus the F5E, however, the long fight is actually the fight you will lose. So it's a little bit of a different dynamic. Like just like here, we went vertical, I miss, which is nice, and for the sake of the video, it doesn't look as nice as me skill wise, but it looks nice, or it is nice, so you can see what happens in case that you miss, because not everyone hits every shot. No one does, actually. So seeing how the fight would progress if someone doesn't hit some super ass shot is nice to see. Which is why I hate fighting Razor, because he's good at, well, you'll see plenty of that when he's called Bambix in his Mirage, because that was definitely not fun to fight. Right now F5 is very low, he's pretty slow also, and I'm still going 800 here, picking up speed in the dive, converting it into a turn, still going 750. All I have to do is stay out of his guns, and as long as I do that, he will drop out of the air and he will simply die. He's stalling out, he flips his plane around, but he doesn't have the airspeed to actually get his nose on me. So back up over we go. See if we can get the shot here. He's a little bit faster than me right now because he started diving before us. We throttle back up, and I'm going to get a little bit greedy. So I know I shouldn't do this, but I have the shot and I want to get the shot. I miss it. Pull up over him, go under him because he rolled the other way. He gets shots on us. We pass out, which is very bad at this point, but we have enough speed to get away from this guy. I go horizontal, but he just has enough speed to hang in there, and he might be able to get a stall shot off. And these are the things you really have to be careful about. When people stall out, those kind of shots, they will absolutely neck you. You're going a lot faster than you might think you are, and this will make it so you will just pass in front of the enemy, which is something you don't want to do when people have stuff like AIM-9Js or 60s, because you do not have any countermeasures. This fight is going to end pretty anticlimactic, however. I said you're gonna hit the ground. He was too busy looking straight up, and 4 seconds later he says, oh yeah, I did. And we go back up, as we do in every fight. And I'm kind of skewed because I'm used to fighting the J7 now, so I kind of wanted to slow down as much as possible. Like try to stay on Mach 1, so I actually have a little bit of turn. If I go into the Mirage going 1.1 Mach, I will just end up a kilometer above this guy and he will just fall out of the air. But watching the fight like the first one 6 times in a row is pretty boring, so I'm kind of trying to see what we can get away with. He's very close to us now, he's basically stalling out, he has a lot of ammo, and those 20 mils hit pretty hard. He crits both my wing roots. We go straight up because we still have the energy, we still have the position here to do something with it. If he had missed that, he would have been dead, but he hit it, he crit us. And now we are going to try to stay above his nose, because he has to pitch up more and more. The longer we do this, we lose all control now. I'm just trying to hang here, trying to flip over and stall. He misses, he hits. He hits once, doesn't actually kill me, but I have no authority anymore to actually get a shot there, and we J out because we are dead. And here we have a Razor in the Mirage, and the Mirage really doesn't stand this chance. The last 2 fights, I will show you what happens at the first 2 fights that we did. He absolutely slammed me, but that was because I didn't expect him to be able to hit those kind of shots, and I didn't expect the Mirage to do what it did. The Mirage is essentially you, but a little bit worse. He turns slightly better, but he just hemorrhages speed very badly. But he's a lot better at those stall maneuvers. So here you can tell that I'm trying to stay as fast as I can, trying to stay outside of his guns. He's trying to predict where I'm going, and Razor knows me very well, so he kind of knows what I'm gonna do, which is really annoying. But I also kind of know what he tries to do, so it kind of works both ways. But he's a lot better at this than I am, so I have to be a little bit careful. Right now the Mirage is going very slow. I'm still going 600, staying below him, trying to drop him down as much as I can, and the second we are very low, he can't dive anymore to pick up speed, so I'm just trying to run him down to the deck, then bleed his energy, and then we go straight up. But of course you still have to manage to do it, and he knows what I'm trying to do, so he won't really fall for it. But he also don't really have a choice, because the Mirage, this is the 3C, as you can see. The 3E stands absolutely no chance. We are simply holding the S key right now, which is pitch up for me. I notice that he won't be able to nose up here, so we go up and over, we turn back in, and he's essentially stalled out. The thing is, look at this, no control whatsoever, and my plane rolls out of the way. And now I have the Mirage on my 6 again, and we kind of have to reset the fight. I was in a very good spot there. I was in a chance of just winning it straight up right then and there. I'm gonna just outrun those guns, and we are gonna turn back in. Something you shouldn't do, but of course this is way more fun, and this is the custom battle. We are trying to test out stuff. I'm not gonna give the kill on the silver platter, but I'm not gonna play like a pussy. We roll back in. We start a rolling scissor, and in the rolling scissor he definitely has the advantage as long as we can convert the speed that we have into the vertical. But in the scissor itself he will turn slightly tighter, and he will lose more speed, making sure that he's always behind us. But when he loses too much speed, we can go straight back up. I'm not going to use the flaps this time, because it kind of screws over my stall control. I can try to kind of get my nose on without him, but the second you start stalling and you have those flaps down, well, you've seen it 3 times before now, you basically can't do anything. And this time we're on his 6, and once we're on the 6 of the Mirage, well, he turns slightly better, and he will definitely have the advantage in the downward spiral. But what we are going to do here is cut throttle, and we are gonna try to stick as close to him as possible. This is not a winnable fight, like this is straight up not winnable, but I know we're pretty low to the ground, and what's going to end up happening is that he has to actually break off. He has to reverse his turn, because otherwise he flies in my guns, but by doing so he will also just fly into my guns. So there was no real winning option anymore for him there. We were too low, we were too slow, and I had too much position on him for him to do anything. If we were a kilometer or 2 higher, he would have won that downward spiral, because he wasn't forced to reverse his turn yet, and I would have overshot him. I got quite a few of extra Mirage fights. I'll put them at the end like the rest, so look forward to that. This is simply me holding S. He doesn't have the energy to pitch up for me, and this was when I was getting a little bit used to the Mirage, and we're just gonna go head on. I get the shot first, this gun hits like a tank, there we go, he dies. And versus the 21 bits, it's a little bit of an awkward situation, because he has definitely the low speed characteristics. The thing is, by the time we get to the low speed, I will be above him, and I'm still merging at this Mach 1 thing, and if we merge at Mach 1.1, I will end up too far above him, and you'll see that in one of these fights as well. We don't want to keep doing the same thing, because it gets really repetitive, so we switch it up basically every fight, see what works, what doesn't work. And it was the first fight we did, so we didn't really know what to expect here. The 21 bits I was actually expecting to win, but he simply bled too much speed at the start, and there's very little he can do then. Look at this, he did a flat turn, he's going really slow. I'm going to miss because this gun is awkward as hell. We roll back in, trying to get him to take the shot, but his rudder is absolutely atrocious. He doesn't get the shot, and we are going to put it into a spiral. The problem is if the Biz has enough airspeed to where he can pitch straight up, he's going to stay pitching straight up until he goes 10 kilometers an hour. Yes, this is a little bit of an over exaggeration, but that's exactly what it feels like. Right now we're in a little bit of a rate fight, but not really. But I want to get some position here. He goes downwards, picking up speed so he can pitch up for me, and that's something I don't want to happen. So I chase him back down, and I think I'm going to get the shot here, but I just miss it. But we are on a 6 now. He sacrificed a lot of position there to get this angle in. I don't manage to get the shot in again. Now I'm going 300, which is not the ideal speed here, because the 21 Biz will just be able to pitch straight up, hang himself from the air. Luckily I just pitched up soon enough. I just pull in these flaps quick enough, and I'm just getting that shot off. Very, very lucky, and that's how Razor very often kills me, and he's very good at doing that. Fight number 2. We merge again with the 21 Biz. He does a very wide loop this time, trying to conserve his speed. I will just chase him, see if that actually works. I'm just holding S here. He is definitely not bleeding as much speed as I am, but you also have to keep in mind that I'm going to get some position here, and he thinks he can accelerate away and get away from me, which is, well, it's simply false. I'm going to get very close here. I'm going very fast. His acceleration is not going to be enough for us to be outrun. And we also have something called a little ballistic computer, which is very nice indeed. It only works up until 500 meters, so it's not that overpowered. And it's also, well, it doesn't really work when people pull these kinds of maneuvers. I overshoot. I'm going Mach 1. He bled a lot of speed going defensive there. He turned his engine, or he throttled down for a little bit. And luckily he doesn't have R60s, because otherwise I'd be dead right here. We re-engage. He tries to extend away again, and he kind of has to. And we get returned to battlefield, which is just extremely annoying. Trying to predict where he's gonna come out. There he is. And now I'm above him with more speed. And when I say above him, I'm directly above him. So he don't really have a choice here. He's basically, I forced his hand. He gets unspotted by the sun and the water. And again, it's just very hard to hit this. He rips the flap off. Don't manage to hit it. And we go back up, and we put all of the speed back into altitude, and we're gonna run infinite trains on this guy. So if you ever see a MiG-21 Biz that's slow on the deck, if you have the position to stay on him, well, stay on him. Don't do it like this, however, because he will just pitch up here and shove an R60 up your ass. And if this thing actually gets countermeasures, which it probably will at one point, look at that aim. Razor, stop please. If this thing gets countermeasures, this will be a lot more feasible, because you can just turn your afterburner off for like a second, and the R60 will likely be well, fooled by the flare. I really hate stalling in front of Razor, because he will just hit you at 1.3 kilometers. Even with these ass guns, this is like the first time he's flying this thing. And he still gets that close, which is just kind of scary. But he stalled out, we turn back into him, and we are gonna be using something called thrust reversal to stay on this guy's 6, because I'm kind of sick of going up and down like this. He gets all the speed back in this dive, then I have to go back up, he gets to spray at me again, and that's not enjoyable. And we get it. I have more energy, he can dive away, we have to reset. So it's time to try something else. I'm gonna be diving for him here, trying to get as close as possible, and then we start doing something different for once. He's starting the turn. I'm actually going to be leading his turn, something you shouldn't actually do, but I'm cutting throttle here, trying to stay behind him. He's hemorrhaging more speed than me, however, so we throttle back up to lose speed. Yeah, that sounds very counterintuitive, doesn't it? But that's what the thrust reversal is for. We of course reverse the thrust back into the normal position, so we have some actual lift, some thrust, so we can actually pull this off. We get the shot, and I miss it. Very unfortunate, would have been a beautiful shot, but we are gonna get another angle pretty soon here. Don't use the flaps, and I'm gonna keep telling you that. Don't use the flaps in these kind of turns. I'm going to get the shot, I'm gonna be falling over, and I miss it again. Gun is on the bottom, and it simply just shot over him. Very unlucky. We cut throttle again, We're trying to stay within his loop now. We're forcing his fight, but we're forcing it in a way where he's going to end up in front of us, which is what he doesn't want. At this point he is too slow to dodge. He's in my guns and we blast him out of the air. And here we are against the F5E, and this thing has definitely been the biggest pain in my ass. Of course Razor is better than me at this. He's been fighting me for 1.5 hours now, or at least he's been watching me fight J Black, and then he fought me in his Biz, in his Mirage. He knows what I'm gonna do, he knows what his plane is good at, and we're running a full missile loadout now, which is slightly heavier. We have about, I think, 700 kilograms of missiles on board. He only has 2. He is running on min fuel in this first fight, and after that he will be running on 20. But this plane has been the biggest pain in my ass, and again, as I said, we've been kind of getting experienced at this. My options are limited. I'm forced to do a certain way of fighting, and he can kind of adapt to it, force me into certain fights that I don't like, and the longer the fight goes on, the bigger my disadvantage becomes, because at these low speed fights where we're both going about 400, there is just very little I can do here, and especially with the missiles on, I really just can't do a lot. And you'll see a few of those fights where I'm like on a 6, I'm getting position, I'm just not getting the shot, and because of that he will just pull out of the way, he will stall me out, and if I try to extend he will missile me, and if I try to, well, stick the fight, I will stall below him and he will get his nose on me, because I do not have the stall control. But I'll let those play out. I will start off with the F5E without commentary right here. It will just keep on playing, and then for all the guys who want to see the fight without any commentary, I will have them all timestamped at the back again in the same order they were in at the start of the video. So get your popcorn, get your music out, because I'm not going to play my own, because then, well, you can, well, choose your own. I don't know what you guys like. Feel free to stick around. Feel free to watch it play out. If you like these kind of videos, if you like these kind of duels and you actually made it 32 minutes into it, feel free to ask for more of them if that's enough support. And I'm not asking likes or views or subs or whatever. If there's enough people that want to see this kind of stuff, I really don't mind making them. I do like making them. It's pretty easy footage, it's pretty easy to do, and if you guys like it, why not put it on the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you all in the next one.